Why is it that I feel Rooster Teeth is partially responsible for this review? Maybe I should elaborate a little bit more. This is Master Chief. Master Chief is part of Halo. Rooster Teeth did a show based on Halo called Red vs. Blue. If you've seen the show, they're in a box canyon for the first, 5 or 6 seasons? So, Canyon, Halo, Canyon, Halo. I could have done a much better job, tying something together, but I was having a hard time coming up with a cold open for this, and that just worked. Today, we are taking a look at Monteverde Canyon Rust. Overall, I think it's a pretty good ink, and you'll see why a little bit later on, but it's good to be back to these bottles. I'm not really a fan of bottles that you can't just stack. I mean, this is a good look. And yes, I know it'd be hard to stack them, vertically, but if you lay them on their side like this, then you could just stack another bottle on top, and another bottle on top, and another bottle on top, and you see where I'm going with this. I like Monteverde and other ink brands that have these squared or rectangular bottles, strictly because of how OCD I am when it comes to my cabinet space. But that's enough about my idiosyncrasies, so let's go ahead and look at the KPIs, get to the writing sample, and see if Monteverde Canyon Rust is actually going to stay in the collection. We're starting this week with the color swab. Now, I really like what this ink does from the lightest portions going into these transitions, and I can safely say that I have seen all of these colors on display at the Mogollon Rim near Payson, Arizona. It does live up to the Canyon name, and I can appreciate that. The only parts where I'm really reminded of Rust, though, are over here in the deep mids, fading into these transition tones, and a lot of that has to do with a pickup truck that I used to own that had rusted through on the passenger floorboard. All I can say about that experience is that's how I learned how to weld. Good times. Back to the ink. I do think Monteverde did a good job with this color as a whole, and I really don't have any colors in my collection that currently display this color profile. So let's move on to the dry times and the water sample, and then see if this one holds up when we're writing with it. Looking at the dry times here on Rhodia, I've got to say that this is a pleasant surprise compared to the Colorverse inks that we've looked at recently, and this is actually usable. I would say we are functionally dry at 15 seconds, even though there is this slight smearing, and it's completely forgivable. So for a medium to a medium fast writer, yeah, you could get more than one page done and be perfectly happy knowing that you're not going to be getting ink on the opposite page. And over on TR is actually pretty close to the same. We're a little bit more smeared at 15, but we're dry enough at 20 that for a medium writer, this is a very usable ink. And if you're looking for something that has these color profiles, but with this dry time, then yeah, give this one a shot. It's a Monteverde ink, so you know you're not out of pocket that much, and it's a pretty good size 30ml bottle that's easy to fill from. Normally I do a much better job prepping for these, and I think I did a water sample previously on this one just so I could get a good idea for it, but I lost that piece of paper, so this is going to be new for us. Or relatively new? Yeah, we'll see if I remember any of this as we get water on the page. We're seeing a little bit of color lift, but nothing that I would call really detrimental to your writing experience. I honestly think we're going to get a good recoverable result here. And yeah, with water off the page, this is completely usable. The lines are nice and legible, and I can see that we've got is the for Rust. It's one of those things where I don't have to try on this one because we don't have a lot of ink smear going on. And the underlayer, yes, it's a little bit more ghosted because it's a tan/brown ink. It does what it needs to, and it easily gets a 3.5 to 4 out of 5 on the water resistance. Starting off on Rhodia, we're definitely getting more of the rust colors coming through, and what I mean by that are the reddish browns instead of the tan browns that you see more on the lighter and lighter mids of the ink swab. I do like the effect that that gives us here, especially since on Rhodia we are seeing more of those darker mids on display, leading into the transition tones. I'm also kind of glad that this isn't a sheening or specialty ink, because I think that that would actually take away from the dynamic range and color profile that we've got on display here. Sometimes adding that little bit of extra flair can be overkill, and you'll see that in another video that we're getting ready to do, where we go through all the ink vent inks from Diamine. Back to Monteverde though, I do like that we are seeing the deeper mids into those transition tones, but I think that it could give us a little bit more here on Rhodia. We see that actually coming through when we switch over to Tomoe River paper. On this one, we're getting more of the lighter mids fading into those deeper mids. Yes, in formal script, we're losing our chance at getting those transition tones, but if you do write in print, those transition tones do come back, and you still get that dynamic range from those upper mids. So it really is going to depend on the paper that you are using when it comes to this particular ink. If you want more of a deeper rust-colored ink, then use this one on Rhodia. If you want something that fades from those nice canyon tans into kind of a rust-colored canyon, then use this one on Tomoe River paper. For me, I'm a TR user. I like wide dynamic range, and this ink, it delivers. Between the water performance, the dry time, and the color profile as a whole, with what we get here on TR, this ink is now a member of my daily driving arsenal. And that's going to do it for our look at Monteverde Canyon Rust. If you liked the video or found it useful, hit that like button, get subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one.